you realize your son was funnier than you? I'm a mom, but this happened to my husband and our son, and to this day, it's still the funniest parent-teacher meeting we've ever had. It started on a Tuesday afternoon. My husband was sitting in the living room watching a football game when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. Instead, he answered and immediately sat upright. Hello? A pause. Then his eyebrows shot up. What do you mean suspended? I looked over from the kitchen. Suspended? Our son had never been in serious trouble before. Sure, he was a smart aleck. Sure, he had inherited my husband's habit of never missing an opportunity for a joke. But suspended? That sounded serious. By the time our son got home, my husband was waiting by the front door like a detective about to crack a case. Our son walked in carrying his backpack. My husband folded his arms. What happened? Our son blinked. At school? There's only one school you go to. He shrugged. My teacher got mad. For what? I don't know. My husband pointed a finger. That's the weakest defense I've ever heard. But our son didn't look nervous. He didn't look guilty. If anything, he looked annoyed. Dad, she asks weird questions and then gets upset when people answer them. That wasn't exactly reassuring. The next morning, my husband scheduled a meeting with the teacher. I went with him, mostly because I knew if he went alone, he'd either start laughing or accidentally make things worse. We sat down across from the teacher. She didn't waste any time. Your son has been extremely disrespectful. My husband nodded. What did he do? She opened a notebook. Apparently, she'd been keeping records. A lot of records. She adjusted her glasses. Last week, I told the class that curiosity is the key to learning. My husband nodded. Sounds reasonable? She pointed at our son. He raised his hand and asked if that's why cats know more than dogs. I could already see my husband's lips twitching. The teacher continued. Then I told the class there are no stupid questions. My son immediately said, then why do teachers keep asking us things they already know? I kicked my husband under the table because his shoulders had started shaking. The teacher wasn't finished. On Monday, I told everyone they needed to think outside the box. My son replied, that's easy. The box is inside the classroom. At this point, I could see tears forming in my husband's eyes. The teacher looked horrified. Do you find this funny? My husband cleared his throat. No, not at all. It was a terrible lie. Then she flipped to the final page. The suspension happened yesterday. Finally, the big incident. My husband leaned forward. What exactly happened? The teacher sighed dramatically. I told the class that sarcasm wouldn't get them anywhere in life. Our son nodded. That's true. The teacher looked surprised. Exactly. Then our son added, I just said it was getting me through this class. I thought my husband was going to explode. His face turned bright red. He was staring at the floor, biting his lip, doing everything humanly possible not to laugh. The teacher folded her arms. Do you understand how inappropriate that was? My husband took a deep breath, then another. Finally, he looked at our son. Did you really say that? Our son nodded. Word for word. A long silence filled the room. Then my husband looked back at the teacher. That's why he was suspended. Yes. Another silence. Then my husband stood up. I immediately knew something dangerous was about to happen. The teacher straightened in her chair. My husband pointed at our son. Then he said, I came in here expecting to apologize. The teacher nodded. Instead, my husband added, but after hearing the evidence, I think I owe him a congratulations. I buried my face in my hands. The teacher looked like she was about to faint. We gathered our things and headed for the door. As we stepped into the hallway, my husband finally lost the battle. He laughed so hard he had to lean against a locker. Then he looked at our son and said, okay, I'll admit it. You might actually be funnier than me. Our son grinned. For the first time all day, he looked genuinely proud. Then he hit us with one final line. He said, Dad, if I was funnier than you, I would have gotten the teacher to laugh too. And just like that, my husband realized two things. First, our son was absolutely funnier than him. And second, he just lost an argument he hadn't even started.